The other day, a friend of mine asked me if I believe in angels. And of course, my answer was yes, but when pressed, I had a hard time articulating the nature of angels. In our epistle lesson for this Sunday from Paul's letter to the Hebrews, we are cautioned to not neglect to show hospitality to strangers. For by doing so, some have entertained angels without even knowing it. Now, I don't think that Paul is saying that angels come to test our faith, that when they show up and we fail to show them hospitality, that we have failed some sort of a cosmic test. But I do think that angels come and stand in our midst from time to time. Hospitality is at the very heart of what it means to be a Christian. Jesus told us that the greatest of all commandments is to love God with all our hearts and to love our neighbors as ourselves. I don't think that these are two separate commandments, but rather one and the same. For when we have the love of God in our hearts, then of course we will want to love our neighbor, because the two go hand in hand. One of the things that I love best about serving here at Holy Sacrament is that this is a community of faith who, at its core, is hospitable. We have a reputation here of being welcoming to the stranger and of extending our hand of hospitality to those in need. We see this not only through our Friends Reaching Friends mission, but through the everyday actions of many of you. I encourage each of us to be mindful of those in need. As Paul says, to remember those who are in prison, whatever their prison walls may look like, as though we are in prison with them. To remember those who are being tortured, whoever or whatever it may be that is torturing them, as though we ourselves are being tortured. Sometimes loving others as Christ loved us is easy, but more often than not, it requires a sacrifice. I encourage each of us to be mindful of the needs of others, to listen for that still small voice of the Holy Spirit that tugs at our hearts, that calls us to reach out to our sisters and brothers, to share what we have or to simply love on them. For sometimes those we find in need may be an angel in need of entertaining. And as Paul tells us, such sacrifices are pleasing to God.